Uneducated, unfiltered, unhinged. This is the Mangina Dialogues. We at it again with your host Nick Scopes and the Guegolicious. You know how we do, cause you know we keeping it gangster and silly. Unplugged like a full swung titty. About get jitty, cause you know we down to the nitty and the gritty. And we make shit sound so damn pretty. Yeah, cause this unhinged comedy. And right now you're in the mix, so get ready, cause we about to get it poppin'. And we ain't stopping. Uneducated, unfiltered, unhinged. This the Mangina.
Hello and welcome to the Mangina Dialogues. I am one of your hosts, Nick Scopes.
And I'm one of your other hosts, Greg Alprin.
I used his real name today. That's cute. And our guest today looks very handsome in hats, and he's a very funny man. Give it up for Brad Williams. How are you, Brad? What's going on?
How are you?
I mean, can we go back to the theme song?
You liked it? You're a fan?
I don't know what the kids say. Did the kids say that was on fleek? Did the kids say that was poppin'? I don't know what the words are now. I've finally gotten old. I blinked. I got old. I'm 36. I'm married. I'm a dad. What the fuck happened to me? I don't know what TikTok is. I'm not on it.
Dude, I think you, of all people, you need to make a TikTok. You would fucking kill doing the dances and shit and just posting stand-up clips.
Someone told me today that if you type in WAP into the search of TikTok, a video of me from one of my specials comes up doing like a move or a thing or a video. I'm not sure how TikTok works. So like, and I'm just like, all right, cool. I did it. Does that count as making a TikTok? I don't know. It's me doing something to WAP. Also, right when TikTok started, one of my bits was I don't know if you can trend on TikTok, but mine was kind of doing it. I did a bit where I explained to men how you pull hair, how you pull a woman's hair or a man's during sex, and it was like people were doing it. People were lip syncing to it and then pulling their hair. As it was really weird. It was really weird because some of the kids were like way too young, and I'm like, oh no, that's not my target demo. No,
that's the downside of TikTok, man. Like you could just be scrolling, and then like you come across people that are just, I mean, boys and girls that are just way too young. You're like, how the fuck is this on? Like, what's happening?
Yeah. And I never thought I'd get to the point where I'm like, where's your parents? You know what I mean? But like.
But now you're a dad.
Yeah, but now I'm a dad, so it's like I could see a video like that and just be like, where's your parents? Where's your mom and dad? They should not be letting that happen. You should still be watching Elmo. What's happening?
Right. Do you know how TikTok started? TikTok was an app before it was called TikTok. It was called
Musically.
Yeah, but before that, it was called Dub Smash, right? So it was like three different things before it was TikTok. And Dub Smash, it was like one of my most favorite apps of all time. You would lip sync to some other shit, and then it would make a video of you being Will Ferrell or whatever it was.
Yeah, and I did. I had Dub Smash, and you could put it on Twitter.
Yeah.
And these are all words that my dad has no idea what the fuck I just said. Twitter, Dub Smash. And it was the old clip of Stone Cold Steve Austin talking about all the drinking he was going to do that night. He's like, I'm going to have a whiskey, a beer, a tequila, wine, more beer, more whiskey.
Yeah.
And so I lined up all the liquors that he said in that clip, and I just went down the line and went, I'm going to drink whiskey, and then I moved over, beer, tequila, more beer. And it's one of the most popular tweets I ever put out because it was, you know, it works for any drinking holiday. You could throw it up for St. Patrick's Day or dealing with your family on Thanksgiving or whatever. And it every now and then it gets rediscovered, and then people have it trending again. It's weird, so TikTok came from that. I still don't know. I'm an idiot. I don't have a YouTube channel. I'm a moron.
Wow, really?
Brad, what are you doing?
In the Stone Age.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
you've done pretty well despite all that shit. So
well, I'm still trying to hold on to this thought that comedians should be funny. And
should they?
I'm trying to hold on to that dream, but or I shouldn't say that. That makes me sound bitter. But like I should say that if you want to be a stand-up comedian, you should be a really good stand-up comedian, and that's what you should do. I'm very slow, and probably to my own detriment, I'm very slow to evolve and be like, okay, comedian, yes, you have to be funny on stage, but then you also have to have a funny YouTube channel. You have to be funny on Twitter. You have to be funny Instagram. You have to have a funny TikTok. You have to have a funny podcast. It's like, I got a wife and kid. I gotta like, I can't be like posting to Instagram and then be like, I know my baby's crying, but I gotta do the floss on TikTok now or something. Like I can't. I just want funny. I just want to do stand up and maybe write a funny tweet every now and then,
right.
And maybe do a podcast with a arguably sexist title with a really good theme song. That's all. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. I don't.
You're hired, bro. You're hired.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be our promo. Yeah. I mean, it is true. Like just the sheer amount of platforms that you kind of have, it's just crazy. And it's true. And I talk to people about social media all the time, and they use these terms that I just frankly don't understand. They'll be like, you have all your platforms, and you have to do these whip arounds that one thing tags to the other thing that goes to the other thing, and it forms this giant circle. And I'm like, oh my God, what happened to good old Channel 5?
Yeah, and I get it. I sound really old and outdated. Yes, I am old and outdated, and I just need to hire but I'm like scared to put an ad out for like, hey, do you want to do stuff on the internet? Are you 16? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to put that out there because that can be misconstrued. So I want to, but is there some like 24-year-old that is really smart who wants to work for not a lot of money, but has a skill set that is invaluable? You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of a weird thing. Like,
it's very true.
Like,
are you going to be obsolete in 5 years?
Yeah, like I don't know if that person exists right now. It's like, okay, so my wife and I, we've been hearing things about these things that are called Throuples. And Throuples are like, it's not a couple, it's three people that are in a couple together. So we look at each other, we're like, dude, we should get a throuple, but like, we're not looking at it sex-wise. We're not even thinking about that. We're just like, okay, can someone come in, like clean the house, watch the baby, bring in that we don't have to pay, and that is bringing in their own income. You know what I mean? Like that like, but we call it a throuple, but it's really just a nanny that you don't pay. Like that's that's what we want.
Yeah, back in the old days, they called that slavery.
minus having your own income, but yeah.
That's what they called that. I'm no judgments. No judgments. Now
it's gonna be trending. Brad Williams tries to bring back slavery. Great. Awesome.
Totally. Bobby Lee's gonna find this clip and be like, yes.
I mean, if I would love for Bobby Lee to take that role on in my house if I knew that his penis wouldn't be out every 25 seconds.
I feel like I don't know him, obviously you know him, but I feel like from everything I've watched on him and his podcast, he's not the guy you want cleaning your house. You know what I mean? Or watching your children.
No, and I love Bobby. He's such a sweet person. He's the guy, like, I don't know if you've are you guys in Los Angeles or where are you?
We're outside of New York City. We're in Connecticut, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Connecticut. Okay. So
that's what everyone thinks.
I know. Well, because like, okay, whenever I play a club in Connecticut, it's like you pass estates, not houses, estates. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit. but I know there's cities in Connecticut, obviously, like where the Hartford Funny Bone is, where it's like, okay, that's not
Connecticut's weird. Years ago, not to throw you off, but like years ago, this state, very small, we have the biggest divide in wealth. Like, like we have, I mean, there's billionaires, and then there's like Bridgeport, Connecticut, where it's one of the worst cities in the United States. So it's like,
But you played Stress Factory in earlier this year, right? Or late last year in Bridgeport?
Time is of no relevance.
What year is it? Yeah.
I played it. I've played it twice.
Right.
And it's actually really funny because Lisa Lampanelli lives down the street from that club.
Yeah,
and
not exactly down the street, but close to the area. Yeah.
Well, down the street means down the estate.
Yes.
So it's still a 9-mile driveway, but that's down the street in that area of Connecticut.
Exactly.
So like, so she's come out to my shows, and it's really weird to be like on stage and you look down and there's like one of my favorite comics, like Lisa Lampanelli, just like hanging out. You know what I mean? Like, but she likes to come out. But yes, I've been down to that club. And I've done that. But what I was referencing initially when we were talking about Bobby Lee cleaning your house is there's a van that is parked here in the Valley of Los Angeles where I live. And it's Topless Maids.
I know it. I know it.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
No, I know it. I have a picture on my Instagram of it.
Yeah. And like every time I pass it, I just think to myself, like, do you really want that? Do you want the woman to come over, get naked, and then like clean your house, but then do it poorly? And then what are you doing? Are you watching her do that? Are you allowed to, have fun? Or is it just like you have to store it in the spank bank for later? You know what I mean? Like what? Like I'm fascinated by the rules, and I'm fascinated by the guy that calls that number. Like maybe they're cheaper than your average maid. I don't think they would be, but like I have so many questions.
Yeah, me too.
And I almost just want to order one just to see, like, just to answer these questions. Is it like Emily Ratajkowski walking through your front door, or is it
no
Lupe?
shot?
Is it like the character from Family Guy, but she's topless, going like, no, I clean. You like nipples? I put lemon pledge on my nipples. Is it like that? By the way, I have no idea what accent that was. That was like
I don't know either.
That was the lady in the van. The lady in the van.
Yeah. And because she doesn't know what she is either. She's from some land, and like I don't know what that is. So like, and I think your house would be dirtier than before the topless maid showed up. So I think it'd be worse. And like, do you tip the topless maid if she does a bad job? Then it's the old Seinfeld episode. Like I don't get it.
Well, I think we're gonna have to call this and see what happens. I think that's what
I'm sure COVID has hit that business pretty hard. I don't think topless people.
Although I still get my housekeeper still comes over, and when the housekeeper comes over, she and there's three of them. They all three wear masks. My wife and I wear masks. We're always in different rooms, and whatever they're breathing on, they're essentially wiping down right after they do. So maybe topless maids, maybe that's surviving. I don't like the strip club is closed, but because they're technically a maid service, it's kind of a workaround. I don't know.
I'm definitely doing it. I was spending a lot of time in Southern California, and I used to stay at the Sportsman's Lodge on Ventura. And so I think next time I'm there, I'm going to call that number and have them come to the Sportsman Lodge and just be like, I know this is a weird call, but I just have a lot of answers, a lot of questions that I need answered, and I have to go back and report to Brad Williams because he has the same questions, and we'll do this fast. It's only a small one-room hotel room, so let's just get this done.
You're not going to be here for an hour. You're going to be here for 15 minutes tops. You'll get everything clean, and then. Yeah, just so we know what's going on,
and just so you get Bobby Lee out of your house.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm afraid to Google like user reviews from topless maids. Like I'm just afraid.
It's probably hilarious. It's probably funny.
Well, I mean, because they have reviews like that for strip clubs. You could like go to Yelp and like look up the spearmint rhino and like see reviews from the spearmint rhino, and it's just like,
who the fuck?
Who does that? Who goes to a strip club? The wings are bad, and then he's like, well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go home. Like, who does that? I don't understand. But I don't understand who leaves a good review either. Like, I don't understand that mentality. Like, it's so
$40 hand jobs, champagne room, place is great, 5 stars, something like that.
Yeah, and like, what are the disappointed reviews? Like I went to the champagne room. I know what happens in the champagne room. It's like, no, dude, you don't, apparently, because that doesn't happen in the champagne room. You should have listened to Chris Rock's song. He told us back in '95. Okay, like,
wow, I forgot about that song. Wow.
Yeah, no sex in the champagne room. So, yeah, I don't know. Like who leaves those reviews? I'd love to find that out. One of my speaking of reviews, sorry, I'm like running a ton of potential bits by you guys. I don't even know if these are funny.
All good, bro.
We're all stand-ups that aren't working, so it's like I need somewhere to throw this out there and see if anyone laughs at it. Like, my daughter falls asleep to white noise, which is not country music. You can make that joke, obviously. But like, she falls asleep to white noise, and we just find a YouTube thing and we do white noise. There's reviews. There's comments of white noise. I'm Come like, on. What is there to comment on? Did you hit play? Did it go? Did it do that? Done. Is there good white noise? Is there bad white noise? There was one, like, I read the comments. They're hilarious. They're like, some person read, like, someone told me that something happened like 10 hours into this. So I listened to the whole thing to make sure. It was nuts. So yeah,
you know what that's like when you like, I don't think people do it anymore, but like on CDs, they'd have like their song and it would end, but it would go on for like 35 minutes. And then at like 35th 2-second mark, like someone screams.
Yeah.
And there's always that friend who's the asshole. It's like, I listened to it all the way through, and then 35 minutes later, it screams.
I know. I remember the first album that I ever had that did that. It was Green Day, Dookie.
Yes, I own that album too.
Yeah, the very last song. I don't know what it is, but you listen to it, and then there's all that downtime.
Yep.
And then like 10 minutes later, that there's like this song, and it sounds like a Muppet is singing it. It's like, I was thinking of you. I was all by myself. And
That's the name of the song. I just looked it up.
Oh, you have it?
All by myself. Yeah, you were right. That's what. Yeah, that's what you were right.
That was the first one, and like trying to explain that to my daughter when she gets old enough, it's like, no. We would listen to 8 minutes of silence for a song that nobody liked, but just so you like listen to the secret song. It's crazy.
Yeah, right.
I love that. Brad, I had a question. So this is funny. When Greg told me we were going to interview you a few days ago, I had no idea. But before that, I went down a real rabbit hole of Bert Kreischer's show, Something's Burning, on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I stumbled across the one with you and Adam Ray. And I was a little high, but also I was I was in awe at, first of all, it was funny you got hammered and fell. That's hilarious. But I was in awe of how
that happened.
Yeah. I thought you were like kidding for a minute, and then it was like, oh no, that was real. But I was in awe of how fast you and Adam go back and forth. That was like, were you always that guy, dude? Yeah.
Well, Adam and I mean, we did, I don't know how many episodes of the About Last Night podcast, over 500.
Yeah.
So like, you do that many reps, you're gonna be like that. And we both have like an improv background, and I like riffing, and I like when someone says something, if you got to come back. And with Adam and I, and like with comics like me and Chris Porter, or you know who's always good at that is Andrew Santino.
Yes.
Mark Norman talks in bits. Makes me very upset because I'm not that good, but like he just talks in bits. It's fucking ridiculous. And he's like that all the time. If you have a conversation with Mark Norman off stage, he's still like tagging your, like, Mark, I was telling you that the elevator was stopped, and he goes, oh, elevator, you're in an elevator. Did someone fart? Did you smell it first? Like, and he's just going. He's like, that was a stupid joke. He would have had a great joke, but yeah, that's how Mark Norman is. It's fucking nuts. But yeah, that was a fun deal, just because. Yes, I did, for not to spoil the thing that's been out on the internet for a while, but yes, I get drunk and I fall off the stool that I'm sitting on, and the best part is when I fall, Adam, my friend, has a look of concern on his face. Bert, who is my friend but is still Bert, the first thing, I fall and he just pops his head up and goes, "That's not real, is it?" Like,
that's what I thought.
He says,
I was like, oh, he's doing it for the bit. And then,
yeah,
then you got up and I was like, oh, he's fucking hammered.
Yeah, that was good and sauced. So yeah, but I just love that Bert's first reaction is, "That's not real, is it?" Like, not, is he okay? You know, not like, do we have a lawsuit on our hands? We have to call 911. But no, just, that's not real. Like, it's like, yes, Bert, dwarves falling is real. It's something that happens.
So what? But did Adam help you? Like what? So he's.
Hey, you gotta watch the thing.
Yeah,
I gotta watch it.
I'm just joking.
It was hilarious, man. It was so funny.
Hey, dude.
Yeah. So I keep telling Nick, I'm like, I've really, since we started this about a year and a half ago, and the most we really started interviewing and having on, way more established comedians than we had in the early days. I'm like, I really want to get Brad Williams on this. He's one of my all-time favorite comedians. And I'm lucky enough to have been spending a lot of time in Southern California and going to the Comedy Store as much as I possibly could. And the first time I tried to get you on, I actually went to Barry Katz first. And Barry, he said something like, you had just recently had your child. So he was like, Brad's not doing stuff right now. He's like, but I'll come on your podcast. And I'm like, Nick, holy shit, Barry Katz wants to come on our podcast.
Then let me guess. You said, "Hey, Barry, how are you?" And then he talked for the entire podcast.
Yeah.
You said something like, and the esteemed manager, every comic you could ever think of, this man has managed that comic, Barry Katz. And he goes, "Well, first of all, I just want to say mangina dialogues. How do you get mangina? What is a man? Did you guys watch Silence of the Lambs? And then you just decided to name your podcast after one of the weirdest scenes in cinematic history? What's going on with your hair? Did you want a diet blonde? Did you have a decision midway through? What happened?" And then he just talked for an hour.
That's essentially what happened, man. Like, Greg and I were on Zoom. This was like midst of the pandemic, and Greg and I were on Zoom so we could see each other. And Barry called in.
Okay.
And we would we opened up with one question. He would talk, and Greg and I were just like, just let him go. Like, we didn't care. We don't care. Like, let him rip.
What was it like to manage Dave Chappelle? Let me tell you a very brief 45-minute story about Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, it's actually exactly what happened. I did his credits, like Barry, who's done this, that, the other thing, is on our show. And I literally opened it up and I said, "Barry, why are you on our podcast?" And I think he's still talking. I think he's still answering that question 7 months later. But
which, don't get me wrong, like, he's my manager, so I like the fact that he's so thorough. Right. But then whenever I have an hour-long conversation with him, I just pause for a second and think, wait, how are you getting anything done for me? Because like you said an hour-long conversation with me, you have like so many clients that is your day just checking off that list and having those hour-long conversations. And then when you do, like, does that happen with absolutely everybody? Does his maid come in? Let me tell you about Comet and Pine Sol. Let me tell you the origins of where these things come from and why they're secretly racist. Like, it's ridiculous.
why they're secretly racist.
I don't know why pies all secretly racist, but people find out reasons why everything's racist
Yeah,
now.
totally.
So why not?
Yeah, dude, we know
Sure.
how it goes. Yeah, you were talking about
Why not?
white noise earlier. You're talking about white noise. What about black noise, dude? You're a real racist.
Oh,
You know that?
I speaking of black noise, I actually have something that goes with that.
Yes.
That's not a racist bit. I was just on a podcast called What We're Drinking with Dan Dunn, where he sends you alcohol and you drink it on the podcast and then you review it. And he sent me Metallica's whiskey. Metallica has a whiskey out.
Yeah.
They use blackened noise, which is just really low noise, to vibrate the whiskey in the whiskey barrel, and it gives it a certain flavor. I don't know, but I got the bottle right here.
That's really cool. I had no idea
Yeah.
Metallica had a whiskey.
Yeah. It's blackened. It's called blackened, and I had it, and it's delightful. And they even sent me this thing where they sent me Metallica vinyl. They sent me like the playlist that they played to flavor the whiskey. I don't have a record player, so now I went out and I got a record player, and then I'm now a douchebag record guy, because you can't just have one record. You got to have a bunch of records.
Yeah,
so now I got a bunch of records.
What'd you buy? What else did you buy?
Nothing, because I just went to my mom's house and went, hey, I got a record player. And she's like, oh, I've had vinyl in my house for like 50 years. Like, do you want it? Like, sure. So I have like the Beatles' first album, and it's actually the
That's
Beatles'
cool.
first album.
Yeah.
It's not like a reprint or anything like that. Yeah, and like some old Elvis and some Simon and Garfunkel. Like it's stuff that I would want to play. Like, you can't play Taylor Swift on a record player. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't.
I hope you're not.
Or at all. Can't play her at all. In any.
Like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You have to
Yeah.
do like older stuff or stuff that sounds like older stuff. So,
Right.
like you could play Greta Van Fleet because it sounds like Led Zeppelin. Okay, so it's fine. But no. Now I'm douchebag record player guy. I'm online looking up speakers. Like, I'm that dude now.
Wow.
Fucking A. I wear these hats. I have a beard. Next thing you know, I'm gonna be drinking artisanal coffee.
You're totally you're joining
you're
Mumford
gonna
and Sons. Mumford and Sons. Like, you're going there.
I'm one of
Yeah,
those
Bonnaroo.
assholes.
Can't wait till you start your own home brewery. This is gonna be cool.
Oh, why'd you say that?
Are you?
I see it in the corner.
The
There's
Broncos jug?
there's a jug.
No.
Oh, that is the Broncos jug.
No, it's not that one. But I actually I don't brew at home, but I'm part owner of a brewery. So technically,
Yes.
Which one? What's it called?
it's a brewery down in San Diego, California, called Thorns Street Brewery, and it's really good. I don't do anything with the making of the beer. It's not like the hops were crushed by dwarf feet. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. It gets an extra flavor. You know, like, it's not that. But yeah, they have some really smart people down there make some beer, and it's my side hustle. So if you're in San Diego, we have 2 locations down in San Diego. Please get some takeout at Thorn Street Brewery.
Wow, that sounds awesome. Where is it in, like, the main section down there by Gasoline?
The first one, because we have 2 locations. The first one is in North Park, San Diego. But yeah, there's a lot of craft beer, breweries in San Diego.
Yeah.
That just I don't know. I guess you have perfect weather and you just look out and you go, I'd like a beer. Budweiser, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just what people do down there. So yeah, we have a thing, Thorn Street Brewery, and it's we have our best beer is the Barrio Lager, which is flavored with agave. It's fucking delicious.
Wow. All right.
There you go.
There is good
My
craft
plug
beer in
for
California.
Yeah, there's my plug for the brewery that none of your listeners can listen to because they're not in San Diego.
Well, you're on a good path, man. If you start making your own kombucha, then you're a lost cause. We can't help you there.
Oh wait, why'd you say that?
No,
no,
Brad. I'm kidding. I was like, is he fucking kidding?
You know what's next? He's definitely going into the barbecue business. He's gonna have a barbecue truck.
Yeah, I'll do that. I mean,
Migrate
Rogan's
down to
on
Boston
all the time. Rogan's doing his smoker in the perfect way to smoke his elk meat and all that jazz. I'll hop into it. Why do we have to have weird hobbies? Why can't we just be like, yeah, I play golf or I like darts? You know what I mean? It's like, ugh.
Do you play golf? Are you a golfer?
Yeah. I do. I love it. It's great. And it's the best part about playing golf as a little person is just whenever I go to the first tee, like the crowd that forms on the first tee, they go, what the fuck is he gonna do? And I'm not horrible. I will not say I'm good, but I'm not horrible. So I hit it and it goes well. And people just start going like, what the fuck? The midget plays better golf than me? Yeah, yes, I do. It's great.
I've heard you play with Santino, right? I've heard him say you guys go play with each other.
Yeah.
He looks like a golfer.
Yeah, Santino's really good though. He's like there's a few comics that they're not gonna go pro or anything like that, but like they're really good. Andrew Santino is one of them. Court McCowan is the best, one of the best golfers I've ever seen. He's insane. He's insanely good. And the aforementioned Bert Kreischer says he's good, but he's never really done. But he's this guy that just thinks he can walk out there and be like, golf, see it on TV, no problem, boom, and then like just go.
He always talks about the Mickey Mantle gene that he has supposedly, or whatever.
Yeah. Whatever you do, Bert's like, I can do that. And the crazy part is, most of the time he can. He's got something that's in him that he I guess it's alcohol and blind confidence. If you have those things, you can do whatever you want apparently. But no, Bert and Andrew were talking back and forth about having like a comedian golf tournament, and I want to tell Bert, I'm like, dude, don't do it, man. Don't do it. You're gonna lose a lot of money. Don't do it. Like, Andrew's really good.
That's how would you even get through a round with those guys?
Oh, it's the best. Like, normally two guys I play with is Andrew and Chris Porter, and those guys are like, it's just that you don't even care what you scored that day because you've been laughing straight.
Oh my God, I can imagine. So like when you go to the course to play with those two guys, does the course throw an unknown fourth guy in the mix? And that got to be amazing, but also like I couldn't imagine going to the golf course as a single and just being put in a foursome with you three and be like, go play with those guys.
Yeah. Thankfully, that's never happened to us. Because we'll always find a fourth who plays, whether it be like Jimmy Schubert or something like that. Like it's something like that. So where we always have four comics, because I always feel like whether it's that situation or like the female comic who brings her boyfriend who's not a comic to the comedy store,
right?
She's got to go up on stage, and then the boyfriend is just sitting back with all the comics, and now he's like in that circle. Oof. You don't want to that's like one of us like throwing on a football helmet and being like, I can tackle Derrick Henry. No, you can't. You can't do it.
That I would feel bad for that guy. I would feel bad.
And the same way, because if someone ever got put in our threesome to make a foursome and now they're trying to joke with four professionals, I think that's what's driving most comedians the most insane during this pandemic. It's not it's not the lack of work, it's not the lack of income, it's the lack of like being able to hang with comics, because that's the only people that we can really hang with and get this. Yep. And God bless my wife. She tries, and she gets some good zingers. She gets some damn good zingers in there. But like, there's always a point. Like, my wife and I have a safe word, not for sex. We have a safe word for when Brad is taking the joke too far.
She's like, pineapples, enough.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not pineapples. The word is actually cephalopod, but yes.
Jesus, that's a fucking...
He's a science geek. I was like, what should it be? It has to be a word that we would never be really talking about. She goes, how about cephalopod? I love them. I go, all right, cool. So whenever she says that, I know that I've taken the joke too far and I need to back off. But like comics, like that would never happen. Like no one's ever gonna stop a group of 5-6 comics hanging out just being like, whoa, hey guys, I think we went too far with that one. Like no. And we're just constantly trying to top each other and say the worst possible thing that we can, and the thing that would get us, canceled or whatever out there in the real world. But yeah, that's the thing that kills me the most during this whole pandemic, is just not being able to have those nights at the Improv bar, at the Comedy Store, wherever, where it's just comics shooting the shit and hanging. That's the best.
I gotta tell you, that golf foursome sounds like a Netflix show waiting to happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, not to mention Bert Kreischer again, but Bert he essentially did that, where he's like, hey, I just want to hang out in a cabin in the woods with my friends.
Right. Yeah.
Ape it? And then everyone's like, okay. and then you get the funniest people in the world to just come hang out with you, and you do an activity together, not to do the activity, but it's just giving Donnell Rawlings an excuse to talk, because that man is so fucking funny, and whatever he says is hilarious. So yeah, it's great. I love that show.
So have you been hanging out at the store at all since? I mean, obviously not doing stand up, but like all the different things you've been doing there, and
not as much as I'd like to. I get so tired by the end of the day having the new baby that it's like when she's asleep at like 6 o'clock, I'm like, all right, I'm eating dinner, I'm having a whiskey, I'm watching one show, I'm going to bed. Like that is like, I'm in bed, guys. Like I'm in bed by like 9:30, and it's because it's like the baby wakes up at thank God she's sleeping now through the night, but like she wakes up at like 5:30, 6 a.m. So if I'm up at like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and it's just me and my wife hanging out, like it's like, no, we gotta get to bed because we gotta wake up soon.
The other day you emailed me, it was like way early. I looked at them like, what the hell? Like, yeah, that's because of the baby. There's no way he's up at 6 a.m. if it's not because of the baby.
That's dad hours, man. And that's what wakes me up, is like I wake up at 5:30, she's awake, my daughter, and then I have to answer just a couple of emails, and that gets my brain going. Yep. And then like I'm like, okay, I'm up, and then I go get her. And unless she's like hurt, then I'm not, I'm not gonna be like, hold on. I gotta write these guys who have a podcast in Connecticut. Hold on. Think that I love more than anything. Hold on.
This is important business.
Dude, I give it to all my friends are dads, and I like saw what they went through in the beginning with having babies and stuff. And my buddy had twin girls. Okay. Oof. Yeah. And I went to the hospital, saw them, and I remember he disappeared for like 3-4 months, understandably. And he was like, hey man, he's like, I'm gonna be in your area today, you want to get lunch? And I was like, sure. And I'm waiting in the parking lot for him, and I get out of the car, and he gets out of the car, and I looked at him, and I was like, are you okay, man? Like, he looked like a fucking zombie movie. I was like, dude, are you all right? He's like, I've had 3 coffees and it's noon and it's done nothing. And I was like, oh shit.
Like you hear those jokes all the time of like, you don't get any sleep. But like, I've done crazy weekends in Vegas where I got like 6 hours of sleep in 3 nights. And so I'm always like, all right, you don't get any sleep. If I get like 2 hours a night or 3-4 hours a night, I'm good. No, you don't get any, like none. None. Like
good sleep, that's for sure.
yeah, the baby has to eat every 2 hours, and so it's like that you can't go to sleep, and because by the time you feed the baby and then change the baby and slowly get the baby back into sleep, time to feed the baby again. Like that's how it is. My wife and I lived on our couch. Like, you know, I've done okay for myself. I got a pretty nice house, and we weren't in any room. We were just on the couch. Baby's in the crib next. Baby's in the crib next to the couch, and we just slept. And the TV was always on something that just so we can have some background noise. And yeah, those first 2-3 months are like, yeah, that like all my friends that are about to have kids or like thinking about having kids, I always tell them like, bros, like get help, get nannies, get grandmas, get aunts, get uncles, get whomever you can, take shifts.
Yeah, totally.
Dude, that was my job.
What how do you think being a dad of a girl is gonna, if at all, is it gonna change any of your material, your act at all? Like, how do you, because you had your baby in like barely not even a year ago, right? So like,
yeah,
so there wasn't a lot of performing time, if any, before, you know, the whole shutdown happened. So
yeah.
I mean, year, like, how do you think that changes your act and routine and impacts, you know, your comedy?
Oh, you know, it's just a new perspective. It's a new perspective. It's a new thing, and it's a new way of looking at the world. Like, I didn't realize that being a dad, like everything, like things that you certain things that you wouldn't realize would change. Like now, I can't watch the first Taken movie. I can't watch it. I'm the father of I'm the father of a girl. I'm freaking out. Like, why would you do it? Why? Yeah, go kill those motherfuckers. Like, I can't. There's certain things like I can't do. But in certain things I have to be like, all right, like here, and here's one that I always have to think about now is now, like, you know, I post some photos of the baby, put her up on Instagram. Everyone seems to enjoy it. And someone gave her a really nice toy that's a Snoopy that kind of, it's a robot. It dances. She loves it. She loves this thing. She has this thing on her, and I'm taking a video of it, and like it's moving around. And then this toy gets into a vibrate mode, and the baby starts laughing. And then I'm recording it, going, "Nope, can't post that. Can't. Nope." I mean, it's so delightfully innocent.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, because I'm a dad, but then I also think like a comic, and I go, no. There's too many jokes about that. Nope.
Dude, my buddy called me when his daughters were like, I think his daughter was almost 1. He was holding her or whatever, and he just started like patting her butt, and she started laughing her ass off, and he just in his head immediately was like, oh no. He called me. He's like, dude, I started like tapping her butt, and she just laughed her ass off and loved it. And I was like, what are you gonna do, man? Something you could do.
and yeah, it's things like that. So yes, it'll change my comedy. It'll obviously change my perspective. But I just will you guys call me out if there's ever like a women's issue, and I release a statement, and I start the statement with, as a father of a daughter. Like, that's just.
Yes.
Fuck those guys.
You know, that's really part of why, you know, I really love your act, right? And I've been lucky enough to see it a whole bunch of times at the Comedy Store in person in LA. And that so much, like, it's real life, right? Like, I think that's kind of what your act is, right? Right? Your life. And, you know, it's just really awesome to see. You know, you talk about your size, you talk about your wife, you talk about, you know, every single thing possible. And I remember one night, I don't remember the exact bit, but you were saying about, I think someone was like giving you shit for something, and you were like, have you seen how hot my wife is? Like, there was something like that, and I'm like, oh, that's so fucking great.
Yeah. I don't know what it was, but that sounds like either I would do. Like, someone, yeah, and you know what? I think I remember that night. Like, someone said, like, you're not funny, and it was while the room was And it was while the room was laughing. I'm like, well, first of all, the room's laughing, so you can't say I'm not funny. And the guy was drunk. He's like, you're not funny. I'm like, dude, I married a hot Asian woman.
Yeah, that is exactly what you said. It was pretty much that. Yeah.
Yeah, ta-da! I'm funny. Like the hot Asian woman isn't like the tall hot Asian woman isn't going to sleep with the dwarf comedian who's horrible at his job. Like that's no.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Like, it's not gonna happen. So it's like you have to deconstruct this, dude.
Yeah.
And I love doing that. My favorite thing about like I don't enjoy getting heckled, but my favorite thing about it is that your average heckler always thinks like I got something that's gonna throw him off his game, and it's like, bro, you realize I've been a dwarf my whole life, right? Like.
Yeah, like
whatever you're about to say, I've either heard it, or heard a version of it, and not just since I was a comic, like my whole life. So I've got comebacks to these things, like forever and a day. Like do you think you're gonna throw me off if you're sitting in the audience drunk and you yell out "Oompa Loompa"? Like you really think I got nothing?
Like that's genius. Wow, that guy's so smart.
You think I'm gonna stop and be like, oh fuck, man, you really got me with that one. Oompa Loompa.
You've never heard the Wizard of Oz jokes.
Oh God, never have I ever been called that before. Like it's like, dude, please calm down.
Yeah, or get more creative. Plus, also you got to think the fact too is that you have a microphone, so. Mm-hmm. Almost even like I don't like you could tell me because you have more experience in comedy. Has there ever been a show or a heckler that's won the argument ever in the history?
Not with me.
But like, have you seen it happen?
I've seen it happen.
Really?
Wow.
All right. Well, now I'm sure you can't tell me who or when, but.
Oh, I can't tell you this. I can't tell you who. I don't even think this guy does comedy anymore. But it was at the Ontario Improv, and this comic goes on stage, and he starts. This was during the Bush II Iraq War. Okay, the Iraq War sequel, not as good as the original. And he's on stage, and he starts talking about the troops. And he goes like, and these brave men and women, they don't want to be there. They don't want to be in Iraq. And this guy stands up and goes, hey, fuck you. My brother's there right now. He wants to be there. He knows why he's there. He's there for a good reason. And you need to shut the fuck up. And he said that. And there was this pause. And the comic on stage goes, security, get this asshole out of here. Kick him out. And the whole audience is like, wait, what? No, that's not when you do that. Like,
yeah, right.
And security walks down and goes, oh, okay, and like they start like walking the dude out. No joke. Me and like three other comics are backstage, and we're all watching this like, what the fuck are you doing? And the guy finishes his set, bombs horribly.
You think?
Understandably, yeah, that makes sense.
Walks off stage, and the first thing he says when he gets to the green room, because we're all looking at him like, what the fuck? The first thing he says was, "Did you see how I handled that?" No.
No, come on.
Oh my god.
It was, and just for you guys' knowledge, we talked to the bouncer afterward, and apparently the bouncer took the guy and said, hey, let me act like I'm taking you out of the room, and then I'll walk you back in. Right. Like, you don't want to see this guy anyway. Like, but so the guy did that to the dude. But like, that's how blindly egotistical you have to be essentially to do stand up. Yeah. Is you have to think that was a win.
No, I don't. I mean, dude, I get you definitely have to have an ego and you have to have confidence and all that stuff. But like, that was just like, it's the equivalent, I would say, of a guy who, this is my favorite. Whenever they do a joke, it bombs, and then they say that was a good joke. That's and I'm like I've seen that a million, and I'm like, that's like, dude, it's like you're working out and like you're on a bench press and you go to hit and you just fail and it's on your chest. You're like, nah, I nailed it. It's like, well,
yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. One of the most valuable things the most valuable skill you can have as a comedian is recognizing when you fail. You have to be able to know, like, all right, that didn't work. And then you go back and you tinker and you change and you do something. And then hopefully you get to the point that works. But yeah, well, because that's my argument whenever, like, I'll be on a radio show or a podcast or something, and the radio show host will be like, you're funny, we like you, but like, man, Larry the Cable Guy, not funny. I go, you can't say that. You cannot say Larry the Cable Guy is not funny. He sold out a football stadium and told jokes that made a football stadium laugh. So, ta-da! Like that's it. Like you can't say, like, you can say I don't find a particular comedian funny. That's fine. But you can't say they're not funny if, like, they, like, the people laugh. That's the proof. That's it. It's done. So you can't, and the same, you can't say a joke that gets no laughs and go, that's a funny joke. No, it's not.
The audience is just dumb. They don't get it.
And trust me, sometimes, I don't get it. Oh yeah, the room full of 500 people out there, they're just all dumb. You found the 500 people out there that all are on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
That don't. No, shut up. And I had this happen to me coming up. I did a set one time in Los Angeles. This was like before I was a regular at the clubs. And it was at this like sushi bar called Miyagi's. And I do a set and it goes horrible. And I get off stage and I just go, that crowd is horrible. That's a horrible audience. And the next comic after me is Ian Bagg. Ian Bagg is fucking incredible. Ian Bagg goes on stage and within 2 minutes has them rolling. And it was at that moment where I go, oh, it was me. Okay, it was me. That was me.
Yeah, it's like blaming the golf ball or the golf clubs for sucking that day.
Yeah, I mean, are there audiences that are tougher than other audiences? Of course there are. Friday Night Late Show, legendary. That's the show. You know what I mean? So there's definitely audiences that are harder and audiences that maybe are a little more difficult. But at the same time, there's always a combination. Someone can do it. Someone could crack that safe. And that's one of the more fascinating parts about stand-up that I always think about while I'm bombing is I think to myself, something could work here. I could do something, say something, try something that would work. I just have to figure that out what it is. And I have to try a bunch of shit. So yeah, yes, there's bad audiences, whatever, but there's no like unconquerable audience.
Yeah. So when you do like the 15-minute sets at the Comedy Store, or anywhere around town, are you, I mean, I imagine you're trying out material for the first time in front of a bunch of those audiences.
Yeah. Although it's weird at the Comedy Store because the Comedy Store, it used to be the place where you would go try out material. Right. And it still is to some degree. But now, like, you're going on after fucking, Rogan and Ian Edwards and like Joey Diaz and Sebastian Maniscalco and Eliza and Whitney and all these like fucking, even if you go on late in the night, you're gonna run into Fahim Anwar and Lara Bites and like all these just amazing comics. So it's like you kind of get intimidated, like when you're gonna go up, you go like, man, I was gonna try some shit out, but these guys just killed in front of me. Like I can't go on stage and try out my joke and swing and a miss and be like, oh, fuck. Like,
so where do you go to try stuff out?
I mean, I still try stuff out at the store, but you do the old thing where you do a few jokes that work, that get them, and then you try out the new thing, and if the new thing doesn't work, okay, you have stuff that works that you can put at the end, that can get them all back. But yeah, so I would still try out stuff at the store, but oftentimes, like, I'm trying out stuff on the road, because on the road I'm doing an hour on stage.
Yeah.
When I'm doing an hour, yeah, I could have a 3-minute bit that doesn't do well. I got 57 minutes to get them back. When you're on stage, when you're on stage at the store for 15 minutes, that's not like, oh shit, I just bombed and I'm at minute 13. I have to get them back and get them back quick, you know, so I can make a nice little dismount here.
Right.
So yeah, I mostly try stuff out on the road, and then I refine it at the store. Like, if I do something and it works on the road, then I go, okay, I'll try that out at the store, and then I'll see if I can add something to it.
Right. So to that, on the road, I don't know if your website is up to date with your tour dates, but looking at it, it looked like you have a shit ton of dates in 21 that will be out for literally the entire year.
Yep. You know what? I will say this, and this is a very unfortunate thing that's been happening, but if you see that I'm coming to your city, stay posted, you know, like, buy your tickets, but at the same time, just know shit can happen. I had to cancel a bunch of shows in 2020. Obviously everybody did. Right now my plan is to go on the road. I've been talking with my wife, and we have sort of like this plan to do it. We read from credible sources, you know, not dark webs, and we discussed with a few doctors. And once children kind of hit that 1 year mark with COVID, on average, obviously nothing's for sure with this thing, on average, they do better with the virus and don't have as much severe reaction to it if they get it. Now, granted, like I said, that's not perfect, and that's not for everybody. But I'm going to try. I'm going to go out on the road. But when I go on the road, guys, like, I fly. When I fly, mask on, I don't get up. I don't use the bathroom. And then when I'm in the city that I'm in, I'm hotel, I'm stage, I'm hotel. Like, that's it. That's it. I wiped out everything. Like, I'm not the guy that you're not going to catch me like that country star that got kicked off of Saturday Night Live that weekend, where I'm like in the bar party and making out with random chicks. Well, and if I did that, I'd lose half my shit.
At least half. At least half.
Yeah, half my shit at least. So yeah, I don't do that. So, but you know, if any comic says they're not going on the road, I'm not like making fun of them. If any comics says they're going out there, I go, okay, like it's personal call. I'll make the dates that I can. I'll look at states and what they're doing and how it's playing out. But also, I'm seeing a lot of comics on the road that are taking it seriously, that aren't getting it. You know, like, I'm friends with a bunch of comics that are out doing road dates like every weekend, like the aforementioned Chris Porter, like Ryan Niemiller. And I've talked to them, and they're like, yeah, I don't go out. I don't mingle with people afterward. I'm not, you know, they have the same kind of routines as me. So that's what I'm going to try to do. That's what I'm going to try. I'm going to get tested when I get back every time. And hopefully vaccine kicks in, numbers start going down, and we're able to do this on a much larger scale.
Yeah, no, I was just psyched to see that you had that many dates and, you know, cities all across the country lined up. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like,
I haven't worked for a year, and the bills didn't stop.
I know it. I know it.
That's how it goes, man.
Yeah. Well, listen.
It's one thing if I didn't work for a year and I had like some sort of gig that was just a residual payment where I just had mailbox money every week, then I'd be like, yeah, I'll wait. But, you know, I gotta get, like, yes, I love my house, but I'm in a real bad school district, real bad. I gotta move.
Well, luckily you have some time. You got some time to build up a little pile, you know, or save up for some private schooling. But listen, really wanted to thank you. This is awesome. We really, really love you as a comedian, and obviously everything. Wish you guys the best, and with your little girl. You know, it's awesome. Psyched to see it. And hopefully I didn't see any Connecticut dates, but hopefully when you're in Jersey, maybe you can make it out to Connecticut, or
we'll go to Jersey.
I've been talking to Vinny.
I'm sure
we had a date in December for Stress Factory in New Jersey, but then like cases started like going like spiking like madness. So we pulled that date, but we already have a new date for Jersey, and we're gonna work on Connecticut as well. So yeah, I'll be coming to the East Coast. Don't you worry your blonde bleached little head.
It used to be blue, but whatever. COVID boredom.
Hey, I think I ran into you a few times at the store with the blue hair. Is that right?
No, I didn't start dyeing it until we were in pure lockdown.
Okay.
We did though pee next to each other in the bathroom at the store once.
Oh, I'm glad that you remember that. Thank God I don't.
It's on tape, don't worry. Anyway, really, just want to thank you for hanging out. We could talk for hours, and we'll do it again some other time. But definitely look forward to catching up with you in person, either out this way or out your way.
Awesome.
And really wish you the best, and happy holidays to you and everybody else.
Thank you guys. And yeah, as soon as we're able to do stuff in person, if I'm over in Connecticut and you want to go back to that massive green room back there at the Stress Factory, then cool, come on back. We'll record one in person or just hang out.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let me just hit end, and then we'll chat for a quick sec.
Sure.
All right.